way into this whole business. Um, 2012. I'm sitting in the call center answering phones all day for $10 an hour as a college graduate, and I'm actually only there because I'm recovering from bankruptcy. Because as soon as I graduated, I jumped out, started a business selling airsoft guns in Union Station. Business took off like a rocket. Then the main hotel in Union Station, they left. And when they left, all the traffic went all the way down, hit the floor. Me and my business partner started bumping heads. Everything was in my credit. Big, huge business mistake. Everything was in my name. And once we start bumping heads, nothing went well. Long story short, I got like $65,000 worth of debt and I'm making no money. I'm trying to balance it and all of that, file bankruptcy. Now I got to lick my wounds, go get a job. I go get the job making $10 an hour in the call center. And I'm pretty like, I'm just not happy with life at that point in time. And then this girl in the break room, that she got so excited. She was like, yo, I can't wait to get paid. I'm about to get this check. I'm about to go home. I'm moving out of my parents' house. I'm out of here. And we in the same job. And she hyped and I'm not. And that was probably one of the moments where I was like, all right, dude, get your head out the gutter. You got to find something that's going to work for you. So I went home that day. Am I still living with my parents? I went home. I'm like, everything got to go. I got Jordans. I like my Jordans, but they got to go. I got basketball cards. I like them basketball cards. They got to go. Everything. I just start selling any and everything. And I got down to a laptop that I had. This sucker was a Dell XPS laptop. You push the button and the light would turn green, but nothing show on the screen, just pitch black. And in my mind, I'm thinking like, man, I'll take $30 for this thing and it's going to go too. So I jump online. And even if you go back, you could go back online right now, type in the Wayback Machine where it show you the old website. Literally, I jumped online, I typed in sell my laptop. First thing that popped up, cashforlaptops.com. I go in, put in information about my laptop, and that sucker popped up on the screen, 85 bucks. We'll pay you $85 for this laptop. I'm like, all right, cool. That's good. Like in my mind, I was thinking 30. And I go through with the process, send that sucker in. They ship me a box. They literally ship me a big box. This sucker's huge. You put the laptop in it, send it off. A couple days go by, I get a notification from PayPal. You got $85. And that was the day that it happened for me because I was like, whoa, that sucker worked. Like, so I'm thinking like, man, how many people out there just like me? Like they got something that they were willing to take one price for. I can go pay them the 30 and then I make the extra 55. That same day I'm on Craigslist. I will buy your laptop. I put that sucker out there. I'm in the call center and my phone started buzzing all throughout the week. It got to the point where I would be on a phone call with somebody supposed to be doing my job. We taking orders for AT&T, and I would literally be like, "Hold on, just a second." I'm like, "Hold on a minute." I had people pulling up to my job, so I'm buying laptops outside. I'm stepping in the parking lot buying laptops. And so that was my beginning in. So I started just selling straight to that company. And I did that for like 3 months. It went to the point where I started making my $400 paycheck. I started doubling it, tripling it, sometimes making 4X. And I was sending everything straight to that company. And it got to the point where one day I sent probably about like 17 laptops. I sent them 17 laptops where I done spent 3 weeks gathering up stuff, sent it all to them. And they were supposed to pay me like $2,500. And instead of sending me the 2,500, they send me an email that's like, yeah, so we want to pay you like 1,500 for these. And I'm like, no, 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 no. How about we just do the 25? That's sent me. Guess what they send me? They send me an email that says, how about this? We're going to send you all this stuff back and we don't want to do business with you no more. I'm like, ouch. This is, mind you, this is still 2012. 2012.
Okay.
And so I'm like, man, I'm in this position where I'm like, dang, I saw my way out of my job and everything. I'm like, I could just keep doing this forever.
Right.
Um, and so now my buyer's gone. And I'm like, well, I got to get rid of all this stuff. That was my pathway onto eBay because I'm like, I just got to put this stuff on eBay just to get rid of it. Whatever happens,
Hmm.
happens. I don't know
Hmm.
if I'm gonna make more money or less, but I
Hmm.
put all them suckers on eBay. And back then, I had bought a little eBay book on like how to buy and sell stuff on eBay. This sucker was like a $7, $12 ebook or something. And the guy at the time, he was like, run auctions and make sure to run 7-day auctions and start it on a Sunday and end it on a Sunday. And the reason for the Sunday was because everybody's off work most of the time on Sunday. And so he was like, make sure you also end your listings between like the hours of 2 p.m. and 6 p.m. because you get the whole country. Because he's like,
Oh.
the West Coast will be up and moving, the East Coast will still be up. And so I was like, okay, cool. So I took his little tips, threw all my stuff on eBay. The company was supposed to pay me like 2,500, and I'm making up the numbers. I remember it was like whatever I was gonna get paid after all that stuff went through on eBay. I
Yeah.
made like probably about like 35% more. And
Yeah.
that was when I was like, oh, okay, cool. Everything is gonna be like, I'm like, man, I'm finna eBay this mug to death. So that was really like that was the beginning. And that year, I think I ended up doing like 90,000 in sales, something like that, straight through eBay. Um, and that was the beginning of it. If we fast forward a little bit late, a little bit going forward, we all one day at that call center, we all got let go. Um,
Mm.
the owner came in crying, snotty nose tears too. Like the
Oh.
yeah,
Oh my.
he was distraught. He was distraught. But long story short, he was like, "Yo, man, 30 days from now, none of you all will be working here." Um, AT&T ended up outsourcing all the way to Costa Rica, so that was what we did there. Um, but that was my entry into like the whole reselling game. And then after that, I bounced between a couple different jobs here and there, and I would always do it like I would pick it up like whenever I needed it. Because I never saw it as a full-time thing, like something like I never was able to get it consistent enough to be 100% full time. So I would always end up like, man, all right, I got to go back and get a job so I could have something stable. And bounce back into this at the same time as trying a whole bunch of different stuff you see on the internet, drop shipping this, drop shipping that, MLMs, retail arbitrage, build a Shopify store, whole bunch of different things. Fast
Right.
forward to 2017, I'm working now at I'm working for Samsung. This is where I meet Aaron, or I
Yeah.
bump back into Aaron because me and Aaron in between or actually right after the call center job and we got let go. I picked up a gig, which I
Oh,
thought was
Aaron
going to
was
be a
there
gig.
too?
No, he was not at the call center.
Oh,
But right after the call center, I ended up going to something. I think I'm getting a job, but we end up on the street selling cologne. And yeah, we
hustling, man, hustling.
was hustling.
But
We was
was
hustling,
it
right?
good cologne or was it like, this like cheap, like, I don't know,
It was the
what were we
rendition
selling?
stuff. It smelled good, right? So it smelled good, but it's like you get Issey Miyake not in an Issey Miyake bottle. So that
Okay.
was how they sold it. Like, yeah, this is Issey Miyake, but we just
Right.
poured it in another bottle. That was kind of how it was. Or it's really like, yo, like it all
Right.
comes from the same place. This
Right.
bottle say Issey Miyake. This bottle don't. So we get
Right.
this one.
Got it. It's not Mountain Dew Code Red, it's red soda. I got it.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, it was like that. It was definitely like that. But so that was where I met Aaron. And me and Aaron, we was hustling. So we was hustling. We did that for a little while. Um, and then after that, 2017, now I'm working at Samsung. I'm a Samsung retail sales rep, is what they called me. But my job was to go around and show off. If Samsung got new products coming out, I go to the T-Mobile, the AT&T, the Verizon, the Walmart, Sam's Club, even Best Buy. Like I would go out to them and I would talk to the reps like, hey, we got something coming. And get them hyped up about it so that they could then sell it. in their stores, and everybody had like a territory. So I used to drive 44 miles out to get to my territory, work the whole territory all day. But Aaron was working in T-Mobile. And that was when I actually bumped back into Aaron because he was in now,
That's
matter of
great.
fact, Aaron was at AT&T and then went to T-Mobile. So I bumped into him at the AT&T. And mind you, I'm still hustling on the side doing my thing because any job I ever had, I'm like, I got something on the side because I'm
Of
looking for
course.
my exit every
Yeah.
single
Is
time.
it still just laptops, or are you like?
I jumped into phones throughout that because what I eventually realized was like, man, laptops, it's a lot of different pieces that go into the laptop. So like I didn't know nothing. This was all self-educated along the way. When people
Yeah.
asked me questions on eBay, that was how I built my listing because
Yeah.
I would get certain questions all the time. And
Yeah.
then I learned to put it in the listing because people are looking for that. So
Yeah,
it
you
was
did.
like
I like that.
the wiggle in the power cord, that little thing like that. I didn't realize like, oh, that little bit of wiggle is a big deal.
Yep.
I didn't know I didn't know what a driver was. Like, if do you know what a driver is in a laptop?
I had no idea,
Yeah.
dude. Like I don't know what half the stuff is in the laptop. Like
So
I
Laptop?
know I've
Yeah.
done six figures flipping devices, and I have no idea what's in most of the things. Like
Yeah.
for real, like a lot of the stuff that I bought, I have no clue. Like I do the same thing that you do. If they ask me a question, especially if it's like an oddball type of item, I will. What is that? Is that a fake song?
no, it ain't fake. But you see this little bitty crack?
Yeah, kind of.
I've been flipping. I make six figures a year, over six figures a year. And I never, until just this morning, because somebody asked me, I never went and checked the camera to like on all the different zoom levels because
Oh,
that little crack. Now, when you turn the camera on and you look on regular camera, it looked perfectly fine. I tapped to the maximum zoom and there's black dots.
oh wow! I didn't even know that. Look at that. See, see, even at
Still learning.
at that level, you still make mistakes. So here's a mistake I made a while back. Check this out.
And I got two of them.
This this is a fake Samsung S24 Ultra. See how good it is?
That is good.
It's fake.
Let me see the front.
So it won't turn on anymore
At all?
at
It won't
all.
charge or anything.
It won't charge. It won't do anything. But like it even has the
Dang.
pen. Like everything on it, dude, is so good. Like
Wow.
the only way that I was able to tell that it was a fake after I freaking bought it, was there was a slight delay whenever switching between areas of the phone. Like there was just a slight delay that a Samsung shouldn't have. And cosmetically, you would have never known. I would have never known, and I couldn't tell because the cameras are nearly perfect. But even like at my level, I still make these mistakes, you know.
Yeah.
But luckily, doing what I do, I got a bill of sale, and I was like, "Hey, bro, give me my money back or meet me at the police station," you know.
I got an S24, and I'm like, I hope this sucker ain't fake.
They're
So
good,
let
man.
me
You
ask.
need to make sure. Like, you got to go to the settings. Another way that I was able to tell later on was the commas weren't in the correct place. So I knew at that point it was made overseas.
So let me ask, when you got it, it was already set up, not it was on like the home screen?
So yeah, it was already on the home screen and everything. I reset the whole thing too. And everything was looking fine. And like it was that good. Like
Wow.
it was crazy how good it was.
You got me a little bit nervous, but I'm like,
it really like surprised me how good it was. Because but like I felt like there was just something off with it. As I was scrolling through everything, there was a slight delay as Samsungs are usually really fast, right?
Yep.
So, but you know, yeah, just double check on your Samsungs, especially the newer ones. If it's a 512, it's probably fake. 512 gigabyte for the audience. So storage
Yeah.
size.
Yep.
Just throwing that out there. But by the way, guys, welcome to the Smart Flip. I went ahead and let Anthony talk because he had an amazing story going on there. And
Yep.
this is another episode of the Smart Flip where we brought on Anthony today. Anthony's been in the game for a long time.
Yes, sir.
Super glad to have him on here. And we're going to just kind of ask him some questions today about his longevity in the industry, how he makes six figures flipping phones and other devices. Anthony, you want to show off your little collection of phones you got over there today that you were showing me before the call?
Yes. And now I'm like, I got to go through this Samsung.
Now I got you questioning, huh?
Check the settings. Check the settings.
I really, at this point, I'm curious, and I'm about to actually show this, but I'm very curious as to like what is. I really want to hold it, and so that I could feel it and see it, almost like a side by side. Because that,
I know,
man,
another one I would be able to do that, but this one was really good, and it won't charge anymore. It's one of those crap things, like it doesn't charge after you buy it, kind of thing. And but it's really good. It even
I wonder if that's a fail safe so that people can't figure out like who's making them.
Probably, yeah. Like where it just won't turn back on. Probably.
Dang.
I tell you a funny story about that. So back when I'm working in Samsung, I'm working Samsung during the time when they released the Note 7. And I don't know if y'all remember the Note 7.
I love the Note 7.
The Note 7.
Chris made a lot of money off the Note 7.
I made a lot of money off of the Note 7.
The Note 7 started catching fire.
Yep.
And it caught fire to the point you couldn't even get on the airplane.
Yep.
If you was getting on the airplane and you had a Note 7, they're like, you can't get on this flight. Or you give us the phone and put it in like a black box that looked like a military type box. And they like, and we're going to put this somewhere else in the plane, or it'll meet you when you get off the plane.
It'll meet you.
Yeah, it'll meet you there. And so they sent us back into the field like, yo, go get everybody phones and tell them we're sorry. That's what
man.
But people didn't
what?
give up the phone because they was like, nah, mine ain't one of the ones catching fire. I want this phone. I'm keeping this phone. And so eventually,
it's like Note 7 Recon.
Yeah. So eventually it got to the point where so many people had not given back the phones. They sent out an update. Your phone would not charge past 10% now.
Oh.
I did not know that.
And it was, if you hit Wi-Fi, boom, your phone now can only charge to 10%. That was wild to me because I'm like, y'all in control the whole time.
Yeah, look at that. That's crazy. I didn't know what they can do now.
Man.
What? That was wild. That was wild. But so
look at them phones. And
right.
and everything.
That's where I'm at now. But then everything, so these all been listed.
Cool.
All of them down there. All in all, it's probably about like 14 grand.
Love it. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Watch what it Ultra 2.
Heck yeah. I love the Ultra 2s. I've been buying those like crazy, man. Like those are so easy to get at a good price. It's ridiculous. Like people are selling those like hotcakes. I've been buying them for like last one I bought was 300.
That's good. That's real good.
300. Yeah. The last
That's
one.
real good.
There was another one before that I got for 320. Dude, like, and they're just selling for 550, 560. Like
that's sick.
That's what it sold for.
They're my favorite joints, bro.
So easy to flip those watch. Like it amazes me how many phone flippers pass on the smartwatches. Like here's a good example. So this was this is a Series 6, I think. This is a Google lead. So the guy just needed money, right? Anyway, he sells me this Apple Watch Series 6. It's got case and everything on it. I appraised it as, you know, base model, aluminum, whatever. Paid him $50, right? Ends up being stainless steel. And it has that metal band with it too. So it's gonna sell for $170. Like
nice.
Crazy, man. Like I love these because so many phone flippers don't even bother. Like And a lot of the time, whenever you're flipping iPhones, all you got to do is be like, hey, just upsell. Like, you know, we also buy smartwatches and iPads and stuff. And a lot of the times, those iPhone users have a smartwatch that they don't use anymore. Talk about easy money, dude. Like,
yeah,
crazy.
Easy. I like that's my favorite thing. So like that's fast money, easy money. It's my favorite thing, which is actually why, getting back a little bit back to the question of like going from laptops to smartphones, is that back in 2012, like laptops was way more in demand and smartphones was really just becoming a thing. I think they was really, we was on like iPhone 3 or something like that. And back then, like we, even how we did, like right now, we own computers on the internet, but most people don't get on the computer to get on the internet
anymore.
So, not no more. No. The way that the world is going. So like laptops was like here back then, and smartphones was here, and eventually it crisscrossed to where now, and the value. Laptops used to be like a special thing. Now it's not as special as it was back then. And so once that crisscross started happening, that was when I transitioned to smartphones, because I was like, man, it cost me $22 to ship a laptop. I used to go buy the big laptop shipping box, and I was paying $22 just for the box. Then for me to ship a phone, all I need is this.
Yep.
I'm like, yo, $5 faster. The amount of time that it take to inspect one, I would, in order for me to actually go through the whole process with a laptop, about 10 minutes maybe. A phone, 3 minutes.
Yeah, it's so easy.
3 minutes. And so I was like, man, and the value was, I'm like, I'm cool with the 10, 20 minutes as long as the value is there. With the phone, it's like, yo, you get equal value, less time. Easy answer for me.
Yeah. So, if you think about it, I guess the laptop is essentially what people use before they realized they all had a computer in their pocket, right? So smartphone just replaced it, which is, you know, thinking circa 2012, I think someone gifted me an iPhone 4S. And I was like, dude, when that 4S dropped, we were like, oh my gosh, you can talk to your phone now, right? I mean, it just massive leaps since then. Crazy.
That was my entry to Apple, was the 4S.
All right.
Was the 4S. That was when I came over to the Apple family, and it took a minute. Even when I got my MacBook, like it took a minute for me just to get used to the things. But they all do the same things. And so now like their whole goal is really just to get you in the ecosystem. And so once you're in the ecosystem, it's hard to leave. Like if you're a Samsung person and you go to iPhone, my girl, I got her iPhone, right? 'Cause I got tired of seeing the green bubbles. So I got her the iPhone.
I feel that. That's real. That's a real pain, bro.
Yo.
Feel
that. she was like, for like the first 2 months, she was like, ugh, I hate this thing. It don't do it. It don't do the same things. And I'm like, it do. Like it really does. Like all of these things do the same thing. It's just how it does it is what's going to be different. And man, oh yeah, that's what you made me think about this.
The cameras,
they all do the same thing. Like you got the camera in your pocket, you got your laptop in your pocket, your phone is in your pocket. It's throwing me thumbs up.
That was weird. Yeah.
I'm on iPhone. I'm on MacBook.
Google Meet does that. Google Meet, if you do this, it'll give you a thumbs up emoji. It'll float above your head.
Watch this. I think it might do it. I think it do. It's certain ones. It's hearts and thumbs ups.
Well, that's ominous.
Yeah.
But on the topic of that, like as computers or as like smartphones replaced like computers, you know, I'm seeing the same trajectory with like the VR stuff, right? Like I think we're on up with that. Like I think eventually a lot of like with Apple entering the game on that, I think we will start seeing an upward trend of. I think it'll really happen whenever they start with VR glasses. Like instead of like the big bulky things you wear on your head, I think that is where I think in 10 years we're going to be flipping glasses, like 100%. Like people are going to be putting them on, testing them, making sure they can do their work or whatever on their freaking, you know, glasses. Like Just like I think it's gonna be like this, where they just done. Like I think we'll be flipping glasses in 10 years. I
It's gonna
really
be
do.
Tony Stark.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we living in the future. Like every movie we seen, all of that stuff is we literally in it now. And it's funny for me to think about because like as a kid, I'm just like, this is entertainment. This ain't real. This is just make believe, sci-fi. All the sci-fi stuff, we living in it. The fact that like I remember like the movie Spaceballs. Y'all remember Spaceballs where the dude pops up and you see him on the wall and they just like literally just talk to him. We doing that. Like I'm like, and that was 20 something, 30 years. I don't know how many years ago that was. I don't know when that movie came out. But I think
It's
about it, I'm
also,
like, oh, this is
yeah,
mind-boggling to me.
yeah, that's a
And
great
so
quote in
yeah,
the film as well.
they got all of this stuff. They got all of this stuff now to the point where like computers where you don't have a screen, it's just in the air.
Mhm.
And I've
Wow.
seen some of the stuff they showed me like back when I was working with Samsung, like they literally 40 years in all 40 years ahead. And I'm like, dang. And then Apple just gonna buy it from like, okay, give us that piece, buy that piece and put it in the
Yeah, yeah.
That's crazy. So yeah, I think in 10 years we'll be flipping all more VR than we will be phones. I think that'll become the thing, in my opinion. Just if you just look at the trajectory of like what iPhones did to the computer, and I think what and iPhones took a while to take off as well. Like it took what 10 years for it to really inundate the society, where it became a cultural norm. And then now you got VR kind of doing the same thing. It's a slow trajectory. All these companies are investing in it. The AR, VR, whatever, augmented reality. I think all of it will be eventually, and this is why we are pushing on this a little bit too with the flipping part, is because we're so early with it. Like we're so early, and eventually it won't be as lucrative as it is right now.
It's true.
Which man, to talk about like the different trends. I know before when we got started, you were saying like what different trends have I seen exist in this business, and I think that that's one of the biggest trends is like the barrier to entry um, is still very very low,
Oh,
but
yeah.
then as it goes forward, it's going to get high. The barrier to entry is going to increase. And so I think the time really right now for like a lot of people, man, if you looking to make some, like if you getting in, you like, yo, I want to see something that is predictable, repeatable and sustainable, like get in now so that you
Yeah,
can have something, especially like certain things that new people will run into today, I never ran into.
Mhm. Yeah.
Or I ran into it so long ago that it's just way behind me. And it's no longer a hurdle that I would even have to get over, or you would have to get over, or somebody else would have to get over. For instance, like if you got a PayPal account or even like eBay. In the beginning, you're new. You like that new kid at the school that nobody knows you, nobody know if you cool or not, none of that. So you got to come in and prove that you can play by our rules before we quit looking at you.
Yes.
So like, if you brand new, like when I got started, my Jordans was on eBay, my basketball cards was on eBay, all this stuff was on eBay. So it's like, oh, he just getting rid of stuff, right? And then eventually it was like to where I could have $100,000 a month and they don't care.
Yeah.
It's like that's just business as usual for me. But the brand new person, you couldn't come there today and do 100,000 because they like we don't know you.
yeah.
What are
We
you
don't
doing?
know
What
you.
illegal activities are you doing here?
Yeah, you
I
could be
mean,
legal as you could be as legal as you want to be, but they're like, we don't care. We
yeah.
don't care. Too
Well,
new.
especially if you're flipping a lot of devices, if you just pull up, start posting like 10 phones and you're got like zero feedback. I mean, we've seen people get put in eBay jail so fast. Or you start dropping like, yo, I'm gonna message 50 people a day over here on Marketplace, right? Get put in Marketplace jail, right? There's a it's interesting. Here's what I think is a very interesting facet of what we've it's kind of been mentioned, but we sort of talked around is like you had to pivot, Anthony, because suddenly what was your source of income was suddenly gone, right? And so looking at how like there's a hinge point of technology and the way that our connectedness to this technology, or these companies that are invested in technology, dictate the direction in the future, or like the lane that we're running in, right? Like it will kind of corral you in a certain direction. You could not sell laptops anymore because that company no longer wanted to do business with you. Right. So you had to kind of find like a new direction. Like Chris at one point, I think the first two, he talked about this on the call, the first two phones that he got were actually iCloud locked. The first two Apple phones. And so he was flipping Samsungs for a while exclusively because, you know, he had a little bit of love lost there. Like I think it's interesting to see how this shapes you as an entrepreneur. Like you have to think about, all right, if my money's suddenly on lockdown or it's no longer there, how am I going to keep making money through this method that I've learned? And I'd be fascinated to hear some further conversation, both from you, Anthony, as well as, you know, you chiming in, Chris, like, cause I got my stories too, as to like, what was it, how has it been like navigating that? Like, how have you always kind of pivoted and feel like you've like continued to progress and grow as an entrepreneur?
Be a go-getter, man. Be a go-getter, and also learn yourself at the same time, and like learn what it is that you want. 2017, January 11th, I'm sitting in the parking lot outside of T-Mobile when I got that call from my boss, and he's like, "Ant, clock out, go home." I got $800 in my bank account, and I know I'm like, I'm not going back to corporate.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I've been doing this stuff for 10 years, graduated college 10 years before, and I knew like, yo, like I just don't want to go back. And I think for a lot of people, it's like knowing what you're gonna allow to be the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And if you allow, like, and for me, I'm like, that's the bottom. Because if I don't make it now, then I'm going back to my parents' house, and that ain't no option. So that's the bottom. It's only one way to go from here and start running. And so a big part of it is taking that action. Because I ran with it for that whole year, and I ended up, it took me 90 days to replace my job income, but I ran with it. And
Yeah. Right.
I know Chris talked a lot about action. Action.
Action negates luck every single time. Everybody thinks, you know, and I used to think the same way, and this is why I can speak on this, you know. Everybody thinks the cavalry is coming, you know, like everybody thinks somebody's coming to help you. And that is not the case. Like, that is not real world. Like, life is not a fairy tale. Like, you got to get out there, and you just got everybody that I've seen, you know, become success. You know, me and you were talking about this a while back, Anthony. Whenever you launched your course on flipping devices, and then you shut it down because you realized very quickly people didn't have the same like go-getter mentality as you. They just wouldn't do the stuff that was necessary to make this thing happen that you were willing to do in the beginning, right? Like I was doing the same stuff. I was picking stuff up at my job when I was not supposed to. Like meeting people in the freaking banquet room at a restaurant when I'm not supposed to, you know, like I was doing whatever it freaking took to make it happen. And most people aren't willing to do that. And if, you know, I mean, I was still a good employee. I was. Did I want out of there? I made that. Oh yeah, go for it. But
yeah,
my bad. I hope I didn't go too far off the question. No, this the conversations that really matter to me the most, man. I think because this stuff actually matters before what do you do.
Yeah. I don't think that a business can grow into the capacity that is required to manage a sustainable business unless you grow with it. Like people come into this program or they want to start flipping and reselling, and they're suddenly surprised because, hey, you're only going to probably get a reach out deal for every 1 out of 10 or 1 out of 20 more commonly, like, right? So you're 5% successful for every deal you're trying to procure to bring in some opportunity to make some income. And now people are getting skittish because they realize that the money just doesn't like fall in your lap. And so like, you know, you find that if anybody really had that windfall of success all of a sudden, they would not have the maturity, the emotional bandwidth, the mental capacity, like the financial seasoning, right? They would not have any of these things that sort of like size up, like you size up as your business sizes up, right? It's like an ever expanding scenario or equation where it's like, bro, you want to be making 10 grand right now, but your present habits and the condition of who you are as a person can't even sustain the 500 that you just brought home for the week. You know what I mean? And so I think, a lot of people out there, they got them NFL dreams, but they got like a Fisher Price work ethic. It's like, bro, you tilted here, and like, I enjoy having these conversations because it's like everybody wants to go to the show, right? I'm going to the league, like whatever that is, right? We're all turning pro in something when we enter adulthood, but it's like, but are you really? Like, is your mind mentally prepared to be a professional in whatever you choose to be a professional in? And it just so happens that we are professional resellers. There's a level to that, right? Like, yeah, I'm watching the NBA finals right now, or the playoffs, and I'm like, watching these documentaries about how Kyrie trains and how Steph Curry trains and all this sort of stuff. And these guys, they get these handles, from just consistency and reps, and it's just action and action compounded so much. You do it so much that success almost becomes boring because you're just literally doing the same stuff. But the beautiful thing is that the byproduct of that is that you expand like with that, to where when you finally actually start becoming successful on the level where most people look at it successful, right? What are the earmarks of real success within the reselling game? I would say most people are wanting that coveted 10K a month and 6 figures a year, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure we probably all agree on that. But like, have you grown to the capacity of becoming someone who can handle or has infrastructure and systems and the willingness to grind out what 10K a month looks like, or 6 figures? Because Chris will tell you, and I've heard Chris talk about this, like the first time he hit 10K, you were probably kind of tired, weren't you, Chris?
I was worn out, no lie. Like, I remember sitting at the Starbucks when I was adding my numbers up, and I had realized that I had hit 10,000 in profit for the first time, and I was like, wow, nothing changed. Okay, back to work. Like, Andy Frisella has a saying. He's like, you can celebrate for 24 hours, and then you got to get back to work. That's it. Like, because once you start like letting go, that's when you start losing. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh man, that is so true. Because like every time I've just celebrated, I remember Jared, whenever he did his first $10,000 month, he took his entire family out. And that's how he celebrated. Like, he paid for the entire meal for his entire family. And he was very happy to do that. But then he got back to work. Cause like, he asked me, he was like, well, what do we do now? I was like, same stuff, dude. Just go back to work.
To right. Yeah. Up and to the right.
Reach out to responding to leads. Like, just do the stuff. Same stuff.
Yeah. So Anthony, like, to add more context to what, we're sort of discussing here, like have there been some critical transitional moments where you've had to sit down and it's like, I know this from teaching and coaching and reselling myself, that the biggest coach is the 5 inches between my ears, right? It's right here, right? So like, what moments have you had to sit down and be like, all right, like, I gotta put myself on game, right? I've got to get so could you talk about that a little bit?
A few. So after January 11, 2017, after I got fired and I knew I drew my line in the sand, and it wasn't an instant line like, oh, I got fired, then I jumped right. It took a minute. It took a lot of like some soul searching, because I had a voice that was like my parents and society and all of that, like, just get the job, just get the job. And that's like the default plan that we all pretty much are given. If you come up in the United States, it's like, yo, school, college, job. Like, that's that whole thing. And so me knowing that I didn't want to go back, like, one of the first things was to be able to like kind of kill that voice. And there's always two voices, like those 5 inches between our heads there's two voices in there. One is your not playing to be a champion, and the other one is like, yo, we a champion. And so learning how to kill that voice, and you can win by 1%. If you like, yo, man, I'm 51% active and then 49%, like, What if this don't work out that way? Win by 1%, dog, and then learn to increase that margin of victory. And that comes through what are the things you got to do every single day. And so that at that point, I literally just started running. I just started running every single day, running, because I was scared. I was scared. I'm like, bro, I lost my job. I ain't got no income. This is embarrassing. I don't want nobody to talk bad about me. I don't want my people to see me struggle. I don't want all of this, all of this, all of this. I'm cool losing by myself. And if I'm the only one that did it, like, yo, you take a shot, you missed, ain't nobody looking. It don't matter. But when stuff is happening externally, like people can see it. So I started running and I ran for 18 months straight. And I got to the point I had $60,000 cash on me. And I'm like, yo, life is good. But something else also happened is at the point when I ran so long, took so much action to the point that I'm like, I ain't never seen 60,000 in my bank account. And a little switch kind of flipped. And it was just like I started saying yes to everything. To your point, celebrate for a little bit and get back to work. And so one of the things first is just go work. Go work. I went from 60,000 in my bank. I started saying yes to everything. It went from like, bruh, it was Tipsy Tuesdays, Wacky Wednesdays, Thirsty Thursdays, Freaky Fridays, Super Saturday, Sunday Fun Day, Monday Do What You Want. And I did that, but I got all the way off on my habits and on my like, yo, my urgency to get to a deal, my urgency to respond back to leads. I got no consistent lead flow. It was if it's coming, it's coming. And then at a certain point, you could take so much action in this business that it will come and you will be able to like, yo, I could kind of slack off at this point right now. If I slacked off, I still make $6,000 next month.
See, I think that's profound. That's profound. It's like, I think about a Bruce Lee quote. He's like, most people, when they try to punch someone in the face, they try to punch them in the face. He goes, if you want to effectively punch someone in the face, you try to punch them through their face.
Yeah, hit the back wall.
And I think about that often. It's like, people have a goal. It's like, but if you're really trying to get through that goal, it's like punch through the face, right? You punched through the face. Like you didn't run for 6 months. You ran for 18 months, to the point where if that 60 grand sitting in your account doesn't speak volumes, that so massively overwhelm whatever negative or biased voice in your head, right? We learn these things. We get conditioned by society and culture to tell ourselves we can't do stuff because our father told himself he couldn't do stuff, or our mom's mom struggled and said, oh, you can't do this. You know what I mean? Like there's all these things that we learn that aren't necessarily true, and we carry these invisible ceilings around with us that, when you finally punch through that glass ceiling and you go, wow, it was just paper. It wasn't even real. The whole time you kind of feel like the elephant, where like they put a chain on you, to where you thought you were always anchored to that stake in the ground, and then they took the chain away and you were so convinced of what you were by the time the chain was taken away that you could not push past those boundaries, not because there were actual limitations, but because it was all in your mind. And
I got something to add to that. Like,
go for it.
I heard a quote the other day from Hormozy, actually. He said, "Fear is water, is a puddle that is miles wide, but only an inch deep." And that hit really hard. And I was like, that is so true. Because every time like there's been fear, as soon as I've faced it, it's over. Like it's that fast. It's crazy because you build it up in your mind so much more than it actually is. So one thing that I want to touch on is like during that, during those 18 months or whatever, and then even today, Anthony, like what are those daily habits that you do like on a daily basis that lead to, the six figures?
Good question.
Bruh, it's so simple. Make it simple. That's honestly, we could sum this business up in a couple of sentences. Get leads, make offers, close deals. That's it. And but some of the key, like everything else, yo.
It's that simple, I know. Like
Because once you have the
It really
leads,
is.
like
And so like
leads is
really
it.
like in terms of, okay, I'm thinking about the audience as well. Some strategic things that happened along the way was like, yo, we went from being able to, you got to be able to get leads. And so you got to go where people are. 18 months, them 18 months was all free leads. All, if you willing to get up and put out the ad, you can get the leads.
Yeah.
That was just as much as, yo, bro, like, how good is your motor? Are you gonna get up and do it? Cool.
Yeah.
Are you gonna get up and do it? We was in Aaron's joint, next level, and he had a sheet that said this is a $10,000 sheet, one sheet. Put out some leads. Put out your ads. Post ads daily. Respond to leads daily. Go pick up the money daily. And so the 3 agreements that I made for myself, I think this will be useful. The 3 agreements that I made for myself is I have to be willing to message 16 people a day and go pick up 3 items a day. And my target number is $100 profit.
Yep.
Because at the time that I got fired, I was only making $2,700 from my paychecks. It was like $2,750 is what I was making. And I was like, if I don't want to go back, I have to replace that first. And I broke that down into 1 item a day at $100 will keep the JOB away. That's where 1 phone a day keeps the JOB away. That's where that came from. And so that was goal number 1. And then I'm like, well, okay, what if you can double it? Now 2 phones a day. 2 a day is a full-time pay. What if you triple it? 3 a day equals 100K. 3 phones a day. But the agreements that come with that is I got to be willing to message 16 people and willing to meet 3 times a day at that $100 mark. And that's my agreement, and I've never changed it. I've never changed it. That's my agreement with myself. Because also at the 100K mark, I can afford to, like, yo, I want to take my girl, we go to Punta Cana. Cool, we go. And I can go without like, yo, bro, when you go home, is anything gonna fall apart? Like, is it gonna still be there? That was one of the things that I was first like, man, I don't know if I want to. When I had the 60K, I went to the Philippines. 18 hours on the other side of the world. Spent 10 days over there. Probably one of the best 10 days ever. And I woke up, Doc, and I realized we live with a lot of stresses that just like daily stresses and things that exist on you, as being where we are and being in America. And, you know, we all kind of running the race and building stuff and putting stuff together. You got family, you got friends, you got a life, right? And so it all come with a lot of stuff. Being on the other side of the world where you wake up and there's none of that, it takes a lot of adrenaline to get things off the ground. And you learn to live with that adrenaline every single day and learn to just make it happen. And then all of a sudden, like, yo, you're on the other side of the world and none of it exists. You get to like literally, boom, you start to find out who you are, what your impulses are, what your motivations are. And speaking specifically in this business, one of the things that I think will help a lot of people is actually understanding what that motivation is. What's the reason why you want to make more money?
Yeah. So money for money's sake is like, what you're saying is people have to be charged or fueled by a purpose. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
Okay.
And also, and yes, that is absolutely, and it's okay for everybody's to be different. I think that that's one of the things that came for me because mine has changed, which is going back to the 60K thing. I went from 60K down to 5. Boom.
It's called lifestyle inflation, right?
My motivation, it wasn't even this, it was, but it was like the sprint to go from, bro, you got fired, I'm scared, took me to 60.
Yeah.
At the 60, I let go of all those daily things, but also I no longer had that motivation of I'm scared to go back to work. And so at that point, the motivation has to change. And for me, maybe for other people, whatever it is, I would say for somebody getting started, spend some time and identify what is your motivation for this. Because at this point, it's a skill set. This ain't just a business thing. This is really just a set of skills that I use to make money. I'm not in love with flipping phones. I'm in love with not having to go to work. I'm in love with being able to make 300 a day, doing a lot less than I used to do, with a lot less stress than I used to have, with a lot less political stuff, sitting and being around people where we don't even feel the same, think the same. And it's like, dog, I got to sit in here and listen to you because you the boss. So I can't really tell you how I really feel about you because I lose my job. It's my livelihood. Now, you said the cavalry, the cavalry, you said they think the cavalry is coming. I know that feeling, but it ain't coming. It ain't coming. You are the cavalry. That's in this business, you the cavalry. You show you every day. Post them leads. Post the ads. Post the ads to get the leads. And if you know, like, I think if you know what comes with it, then you ultimately just do it. And in the beginning, you kind of having faith because you don't necessarily know yet because you haven't done it yet. But if you look at people, you look out here and look at people like you look at people like Matt, you look at people like Chris, you look at people like Aaron, you look at people like Jared, you look at people that have done it, that shows that, like, yo, it's possible. It's possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I like this because, like, so we recently had a student that joined who, we got on the call and, he told me pretty much immediately, he's like, I need to leave my job in 2 months. And I was like, okay, cool. So you're going to have to do 5 times what we recommend to make that happen as fast as you want. And he did. And he made, and this is, this is unheard of. This isn't, just disclaimer. This is somebody who put in massive amounts of work. Did 120 reach outs for 30 days straight. Like, wild, made over 10,000 in profit. He got really used to the word no, which is something we try to instill with the students very quickly. We want them to get used to the word no really fast. And if they can do that, they can overcome most of the other things pretty easily. So I think I really like how you said 16 conversations a day. Like, it's very specific, right? But it makes sense too compared to your closing rate on paid ads, right? So if you can do 16 total offers per day and you get 3, it's at that point it's just the same input output equation every single day. That's it. Like, no, it's that easy. And I think that's what most people miss is honestly, they just miss days. Like, we see this all the time, right? Where we're looking at their accountability sheet in Recelerator and they're like, yeah, I'm doing the stuff, and pull up their accountability sheet. They missed 3 days in a row. That's where you're missing the mark right there, is because you did it Monday, Tuesday, skipped 3 days, did it Friday, did it Saturday, skipped another 3 days. Like, that's where you're screwing up, right? Is because you're not getting the buildup of the snowball at that point. That's what's happening, is you're not responding to the leads, you're not doing the stuff. I'm getting a lead right now. Like, I'm gonna answer the phone live.
Let's go.
Hello, this is Chris with Bell Electronics. How can I help you?
Yeah, I have a question. Do y'all sell the Galaxy O5?
I don't sell the phones most of the time, but we mostly buy devices right now. Do you have anything you might be looking to sell?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, if you do in the future, let me know. We buy iPhones, MacBooks, smartwatches, cameras, all sorts of stuff. She hung up on me, but anybody notice what I did there?
Upsell.
I upsell.
No, I ain't selling, but I'm buying. Come on with
exactly, yeah. So, yeah, I flip the script every time. This is something I talk about in my book. By the way, we're rewriting the Tech Flips property book. It's gonna be nice. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be a Hormozy style, where I'm gonna take a full year and probably write it. But this is what I talk about with people all the time, and in my book and in everything. Dude, this is and I don't know why this business isn't like further progressed in this sense, because everybody is a customer, either now or in the future.
Yeah.
Like, that's the crazy part about this is like that you can't say that about other businesses, right? Like so Anthony, you've gone through marketing stuff. What do they tell us to do? Talk to a very specific person that does a very specific thing and market to that person using words, right? In this business, literally everybody has one of these, or they have one of the other things, or the smartwatch, or the whatever. You can literally talk to anybody and eventually probably make money from them by providing a service that provides cash.
And we do it in a smart way though, because like, yeah, like I'm a customer for a hamburger too, but I wouldn't buy it from somebody standing outside like, hey, you want to buy this hamburger? Hey, you want to buy McDonald's? Like, bro, come here and get the hamburger, right?
Yeah.
And so when you put out ads though, when you put out ads, the people that's messaging you are the people that's most likely to sell it. They the ones that's most likely, and it's so simple. I pay cash for phones. That's an easy marketing message. Very simple. Very simple message. So only people hitting you up is the people that want to get cash for their phone. So it's like it really is a simple it's a simple business because you can run it by the numbers. And if you run it by the numbers is not hard work. It's not it's just a little bit of dedication. And I think the best part about it too is when you first get started, the beginning is always the hardest. It's just like I say it just like if you push in a parked car, you put it in neutral. Them first couple steps is gonna be, oh, you got to put in some muscle. Then the car start moving, and you could literally have somebody steer it, and you could push. Like my girl son could push it. Like he could push the car. He's like 12, and he would be like, "Hey, bro, you push it, and I'm a steer." And we could do it. We could make it happen. But in the beginning, it's the hardest. But you also earn while you learn in this business.
Yeah.
You could literally get started and make $3,000 in a month doing this.
Yeah.
And you learn the skills along the way.
Yeah.
You learn the skills along the way, and it's skills that you can keep. I've been full-time, bro, since 2017.
Let's go. Yeah.
I think something that you said there is the hardest part is getting started. To put that in like monetary terms, what we've seen just overall, that starting point is your from $0 to $1,000 in profit. That is the hardest part of this business, the hardest part, and that's also where most people give up as well. Like that is true, but like once, and this is why we only work with people that have made $1,000 in Recelerator, because that I don't want to. You can go to my YouTube channel and figure out how to make first $1,000. Like just do that. Like it is very difficult to take somebody from 0 to $1,000, but it's very easy to take somebody from 1 to 5, and then it's even easier to take them from 5 to 10 and 20. Like it's because it's the same steps over and over and over again. It's just repetition at that point. Like if you just do. I was talking with Isaac. So Isaac is one of our 20-year-olds, another 6-figure flipper. This will be his first year doing about 100K or more actually. And one day it finally just like switched for him. Like we were talking, and he was making about $1,000 a month in profit. And then he finally got it. He's like, I just need to do the same things every day. Like I just need to figure out. So he went to like the Recelerator stuff, went through the stuff again, figured out what he needed to do it on just a daily basis. And he listened to some Hormozy thing that told him like, you just need to do the same thing every day for an extended period of time and you'll win. And so he just took that and he's like, I know what to do, so I'm just going to do it. And then I interviewed him 2 months later, and he made $10,000 in profit. Like it's crazy. And I asked him like, what was the biggest shift? He's like, I just realized that I just need to do the same thing every day. Just answer my leads and make offers, sell the stuff quickly, and that was it. Like he's like the only way it got a little bit harder was because I had more volume to deal with on devices. He's like that's where it started getting hard. And he's like, I need to start outsourcing. I need to start doing stuff. And So it's simple. It's simple in terms of that, but getting started, especially if you're coming from a job like we did, it can be a little overwhelming at times because you're not used because there's no structure, not really, right? You have to get used to it.
You have to create the structure on your own. I think, and this is something that I've been writing about myself, is that like what it literally says here, that like full-time, from employee to full-time in your business, 4 mindset shifts that nobody talks about. I wrote that on my wall the other day to write about. But I think one of the first ones is like at a job, it does not matter your level of effort. I could show up and I was about to cuss, but I could show up and not put in good energy and effort, and I'm still gonna get paid at the end of the week, regardless. Regardless. And then if I show up and I do amazing, and I'm like, yo, I'm team leader or whatever, but you get paid a certain amount, you're still gonna get paid that certain amount. The difference in this business is that if you show up with the right energy and the right effort, you get paid more. So you get all the results or none of the results in this. So the mindset shift that you make from going from like, yo, I was working to now I'm working for myself is like, yo, you have to come in with the same level of effort every day. And this is something even I run into when it comes to responding to leads. I don't know if y'all ever have been like, have you ever been responding to a lead, but you wasn't really in it?
Oh gosh, that's every day, dude. Like wake up. So I got a lead this morning at like 8 o'clock. I was still like half awake, and I'm like, oh, I'm not feeling it, dude. Like, I'm like iPhone 11, I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay. But what did I do? I was like, hey, we've been buying those recently for $80. And they were like, cool. Where do I go? Dude, I just made money. Like,
it's too easy. Gosh, that's amazing.
It was just like, I didn't even want to respond, but then, the money is just going to fall in my lap later today. So, but I feel that like me and Matt were talking about this a couple weeks ago, where it's like the reselling game. Like once you get really good at it, it's kind of boring, where it's like so easy and mundane at the point where you're just like, you're not excited anymore. You're just like, this is too, I need something that's like, I need some stimulation, where it's just like, you're just doing the same stuff but that's the key. Like just getting used to mastering the mundane is like where it's at. And
it really is.
I remember talking to Matt and I was like, dude, I'm just going to like, just do this stuff every day. Like this is too easy. And I'm getting bored. That's what it was. It's like, I'm getting bored. And this is also why I like the coaching thing and the coaching space a little bit, is because I run into these problems that are like exciting to fix, so that like stimulates my stuff a little bit.
I call you the system scientist.
I love it, dude. I love that.
It is. And I'll be honest. So going back to certain transitions, the transition from free ads, you're not spending nothing, to when the game became pay to play.
Yeah.
Now that the game is pay to play, I was not a fast jumper on that. And because I wasn't, it took me a while to like, okay, because Facebook ads, cool. It took me a minute to actually get it. And I just wanted somebody to throw it together. I didn't want to have to actually make changes on it. or look and see, is that ad doing it? And it took me a minute until I finally was like, yo, bro, like this is what it is. Like if you learn this, then you get ahead of it, then it's no longer a problem.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, cool. I'll go ahead and learn it. And I took a couple different courses, couple different people, and then specific, so non-specific phone flipping Facebook ads, and then specific phone flipping Facebook ads. And so it taught me a lot of stuff on how to look at this stuff. But it was also a mindset shift that I had to make. And it was one of those things where I was like, I was slow to do it because everything was still okay. And then when stuff start to not be okay, now you're like, oh my God, I'm panicked and I better figure this out. And I think that's one, just to pick up a nugget for somebody, is like to understand that like you can make things not okay today and decide to learn something. Because if you know, like eventually none of the stuff that we do is going to stay the same anyway. So you can continue to stay ahead of the curve so that you ultimately give yourself your own security.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only constant is change. So like,
Yeah.
like, I mean, if we take Facebook ads in 2018, 2019, when we really started doing them to today, dude, we were paying $5 and hitting 2,500 eyeballs in 2018. Like, that was crazy looking back at it. Like, now we're paying $5 hitting 300.
70 cent leads.
Yeah.
70 cent
It was
leads.
insane, right? So the game has changed, right?
Yeah.
And over time, you have to adjust, which in basically what this means is, and I put out a video for this yesterday on my YouTube channel that you guys can go watch. The way the game is now is you actually have to be a better business owner at this point. Like, you can't just throw the money in. You actually have to have the skill sets to, number one, negotiate. Number two, create a repeat customer from that deal. And then number three, get referrals from that same person and then get them to sell to you over and over and over again. How do you do that? You have to be a great business owner. That you just have to be. And that is all you have to do. And then you have to follow up with that person too. There's more steps now. And that's okay, because you can transition those same skill sets into other businesses later on too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that, honestly, when Facebook ads started getting much more difficult, that was honestly the birth of Google ads too for me. Was like, I need to figure something else out here. And so that's where I spent 2 years of trial and error to like just getting ad account ban after ad account ban, figuring this out. Me and David tried to figure it out together, and then he retired from the coaching part, and then it was, and then
Right.
it was so difficult because there was nobody to model, like, to figure it out. You look at the Ecamm ads and you look at these and whatever, right? And I would literally copy the ads as they were said, and I was still getting banned. And I was like, what is happening? Like, and it's so frustrating. But
Wait, so let me ask, was you creating new accounts every single time? Or did you have like, you had one ad account and then agency accounts? Or was you having to get like a...
Oh no, I was screwing the whole thing up, dude. So basically think of it like the Craigslist account that we used to, make over and over and over again. It was like that. Where I would go and try, and then Google was like, "Oh, you're suspended." And I'm like, "Why? Like, what did I do?" Like, what I figured out later on was you can't most of the time use the word iPhone or Samsung because they're trademarked words. You have to use them in a very specific way if you were to use them. And then, it's just those little iterations and little iterations and little iterations over time that led to getting it right. And then, I get a little offended sometimes when somebody's like, I want a different website than the one you made. And I'm like, why? Like, I spent 2 years building a website that actually works for this. And you're just like, no, it looks like garbage. And I'm like, okay, would you rather have a website that converts at 5% or 40%? And they're like, well, obviously the 40, then use mine. It's guaranteed to work. I spent so much time doing it. And it amazes me because Hormozy was talking about this the other day, and I talk about Hormozy a lot because he says things in certain ways that make a lot of sense for people, and I like that. I like to think simply that way. I can reiterate it to my students. And he said something the other day that well, actually, this was from Client to Community, but simple scales and fancy fails, right? So like, there's a lot of people in the space that use these like super fancy buyback sites, like that, it takes like 10 pages to get to an offer. And, I figured out pretty quickly that wasn't going to work for me. And I was like, and I saw the opt-in rate. I saw the people leaving the site. I could literally see it in the data. And I'm like, only like 2% of the people make it to the page where they put in their information. And I was like, that sucks, dude. Like, you guys, It's too expensive. Yeah, exactly. Like you're paying
You can't do that every day. You cannot.
yeah,
You cannot.
exactly. You're paying for the eyeballs on the front end, but you are getting, let's say 100 people see it, and then 2 people opt in. Dude, that is insane. Like, whereas mine, it's simple. It's stupid, like stupid simple. You're getting Google leads, right, Anthony?
Oh yeah.
Let's talk about that real quick. How's
Oh
that
yeah.
going?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So very, very well. So it all blends together. This whole conversation blends together. Like if we just look at the timeline and like the different transitions, because the transition from at one point, like once you get Facebook ads and you got it and you like, okay, I can set these up. It was so easy to spend $10 a day and not care because you just knew like, boom, the results was so good, so cheap. I could spend $10. I'm gonna spend $10 a day anyway doing something. So that's like it was like a nothing cost to make that money. It was nothing. And so now, like the same way with Google, it's like, yo, you set them suckers up, they coming. They come, my phone been buzzing. I had to turn it off right now. Like right now, I had to turn it on silent because people just coming. It's like that, like you go to the pond and you got the bait. Every fish is biting. So that's just how it is. So now with that, with Google, it's like that. You could throw $15 in there and it's gonna bring you back 300. I'll make that trade all day long. I know everybody looking, everybody watching, they'll make that same trade. Like that's all that this stuff is anyway. It's like, yo, you make small bets that pay bigger.
Yeah. I mean, Google is, and it just took so much iteration that, I even bought a house flipping course to try and like finagle the thing, like, okay, how do these guys do this? All right, I can model that and then I can put it here. And then, parts of that didn't work. I think it's just over time, we'll see, we're working on TikTok ads now, but I think Google is probably going to be by far the best going forward in the future because it's so direct to the people we're looking for. It is more direct than Marketplace. It is more direct than anything. It literally hits the customer. It's the crossroads, right? Like the customer needs money right now. They're going to Google, sell my phone, ad, reach out, done. Like today, the lead that I didn't really want to respond to was like, she hit me up and she's like, hey, I want to sell my phone, my iPhone 11. Cool. We've been buying those for $80. All right, cool. I didn't need it anyway. Where do I meet you? I'll be there. I'll be at the Starbucks today at 2:30. All right, cool. I'll be there. That's it. Like that's all it took, And it was the same thing the other day with this. Honestly, most of my leads come from Google now, but just because it's better. My Google My Business is built. It's all there, But I don't think what a lot of people realize is the snowball that takes. It's the same game you're playing the same game over and over again. Like whenever you go to learn Facebook ads, you got to put the 20 hours in to become proficient, right? You gotta figure out how to optimize, and then you got to figure out how to optimize your own process of buying, of listing, of selling. You gotta take a 10,000 foot overview of like what am I doing and how can I make it better, right?
Streamline. Streamline.
Yeah, exactly. Streamline it to where every day it's easy to make that happen. And then over time, it just gets easier and easier and easier the longer you do. And I think what a lot of people don't realize is like they think they can come into this business and in 3 months, 90 days, just like be set forever without like
It's gonna
actually.
stay the same. You expect it to like, yo, you get a $10,000 month, and then it's like I should just get 10,000 next month. Like it should just happen. And I think it's kind of it's somewhat of a rude awakening. But it's something to be understood. Because nothing in life is like where you just do it unless you are a true business owner, where people or systems are doing the same thing that you just did.
Mhm.
Unless you build a system that allows that, then you still have to do it. And so with this business, it is an active business. This is not a passive sit back, click a couple buttons and money comes. Like one of the biggest things I think in terms of me, because I go meet people and I'm like, yo, I'll make the drive, especially because the money, like in terms of some nuggets, I'm in St. Louis, but there's little we got Belleville, we got St. Peter's, you got little communities outside of the main city, and especially when it comes to like the VR stuff, all right outside the city. Like if you was to go another 10 miles out, it's money out there. And so my agreement with myself is, how far are you willing to go to get the $100 bill? If it was a $100 bill over there and nobody knew it was there but you and this other person, would you go get it?
Oh man, I love that. Like I
Would
love
you
the
go
way.
get it? And so I'm like, yeah, I go to, and I'm like, yo, meet me at the Queen. Casino Queen, right across the river. Cool. Anybody that's in Illinois, they meet me at the Queen. Cool.
Dude,
I'm willing
yeah.
to drive to get the 100. Like that's it. And I'll
I,
go 3 times a day.
yeah. I level with that so much, just learning consoles, like they're kind of like what you were saying, Chris, like there being no structure for like I knew how to flip stuff. I could use eBay as a resource, right? I knew how to took Dave's course to find phones, but like consoles were like, dude, there's a lot of models here. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of variables. There's a lot of, right? Like, I don't know, like the excuses, there's a lot of excuses. I think it comes back to what you were saying a short while ago, Anthony, is that there has to be some kind of purpose. Like there's a few things that I'm hearing that are kind of consistent that I love in this podcast is like there has to be some sort of purpose or the kind of like bigger sustaining belief than simply let me go make money, right? Because money's like a means to an end. Like the thing that I hear most entrepreneurs talking about is not money, it's the freedom, right?
Mhm.
It's the ability to choose. It's the capacity to say like, if I want to roll over or roll out in the morning, I get to make that decision. But I got to be aware that if I make that decision to roll over, I need to make sure that the systems are in place so that, if I, or else I'm going to need to be rolling out like 5 days a week until I get those systems in place. Um, I think it's also just, it's really cool how, sorry, I had a mental derail there for a second. Um, I think it's really great how you can also find these little like smaller motivations within that like bigger motivation of like this is the purpose I'm doing this for. But what's helping me like wake up each day, right? There's $100 bill over there. For me, I know that like with consoles, like yesterday, I messaged Chris. I picked up a $75 iMac G3. Came out in 1999, right? I bought it for $75. I'm going to resell that on eBay for about 450 bucks. That's a really nice return. How did I know that there was money there? Because I bought one before. Well, how did I buy one before? Well, I saved up some money buying some other consoles, and then I had to take a swing at this thing. Was I going to hit that pitch? I don't know, right? And I'm not afraid to take that cut because I know that if this works, yes, sir, I see. But if this pans out, like I've got there's a whole portion of this call today or this conversation that has been like it's centered around these sets of rules that we've all established and set for ourselves that we can take comfortable levels of risk within that defined set of rules so that if our rules give us an edge to continue to make money while still allowing us to make a reasonable amount of mistakes so that we don't screw the pooch, you know what I mean, if we really like suck it up one particular day, right? We've all bought some stuff that's caused us to lose a lot of money, but the amount of conversations, right, that you have with people that are really new to this versus you have with people that are like really seasoned in this are so remarkably different because you said that you were running for like 18 months because there was a fear there of not making it, right? And then that motivation changed. And I think at the same time, like I see a lot of people on the front side of reselling stuff where they're still thinking so much like an employee, they haven't learned to think like their own CEO yet, right? It's like, if I don't go make these decisions, what's going to happen? Like I can sit back here comfortable, but then the money's going to run out, right? So how do I start to conform to somebody that can like make these decisions, whereas like I've been conditioned my whole life to be told what to do. But the talent agency's not coming, right? They're not showing up at the door. They're not going to knock on the door and be like, gosh, we've noticed that you're so exquisitely gifted in your ability, or that, you know what, you know how to resell consoles, and we've created a business that you can now just translate yourself into and just run game. And so what I love hearing about is I love hearing about the grit that entrepreneurs have, which, you know, Chris, Anthony, so dope. But also, like, I like hearing about like the strategy that is aligned with that grit. So it's like, no, we're not just out here like rifling money at Facebook Marketplace. Um, Seems to be not the best thing these days, right, Chris? Um, we're doing this with a sense of strategy and systematized approach, so that there are rules in place that if you make mistakes, it's okay. This system has some forgiveness to it to a degree. And then we're also going to find out a lot of things as we kind of like Chris is like the ultimate dude who's like out there, like kind of probing the depths, but like, how many fathoms deep is it now? How many
Oh,
fathoms
100%.
deep?
Yeah, dude, I'm finding stuff all the time and I love it.
Like
I
you are
love
nonstop
it.
beta testing. Like beta testing is your life's theme.
I recently started doing some reels with customers. Like where I take a video, turn the phone around, be like, hey, so and so just sold their phone, they got cash today. We're gonna start running those as that. Like
Let's go.
as reels, because reels are getting the most traction right now. But here's something I wanna hit home real quick. So I was, and this is why I love this like flipping space so much. So I was going through. I always love to learn too. So I want to show you guys how easy it is to get started with flipping just anything. So a while back I came across this reel where I found out that you could actually flip coins, like pennies, legit. So I did not know this,
I've
surprisingly.
seen that ad. You take a picture of it with your phone.
Yeah, you just take a picture of a penny with your phone. So here's a good example, right? So I was playing around with some stuff a while back, and I found a penny that was like 1919, or it was 1984, the first one I flipped. 1984. It's 1 cent, right? Dude, this thing flipped for $1. I was like, wait a minute.
It's a good return.
I was like, no way. And it cost nothing to ship, right? Absolutely.
You can
Like,
put it in an envelope.
exactly, right? So what did I do? I was like, there's no way. Like, this is cool. So what did I do? I went to the bank with $15. What? I got a whole thing, pennies here. And it was actually 15. This just says 25. I got a whole thing of pennies. So there's 2,500 in there. 2,500 pennies. And guys,
What you found so
they're
far?
all valuable coins. All of these will sell for $1 each, or more. Or more. This is, if you have a lot of time, like, no lie, like if you obviously flipping electronics is way more, way better. But like if you have nothing, dude, start flipping coins on eBay. Like you'll
The thought
get
process.
it's so
Right? There's a
crazy.
market for it.
There's a
The
market.
thought process in that is like, what did you go in looking for? And then are you getting what you were looking for? And so with this particular business, it's like, I think most people is like, yo, or either you come in from a place of, I want to get out of my job, you know exactly what you're looking for, or I just want to make extra money, not specific enough. How much extra money? Do you want to make extra 500 a week, 1,000 a week, whatever? But you know what you're looking for, then you're gonna find it.
Yeah.
And so, man, I had a whole nother point because you made me think about something else as well. You made me think about old money.
I'm just driving the point home where it's like this reselling business is unstoppable, right?
Oh, that's what it was the to get ahead of your money. And so the reason I do this now is because it allows me to stay ahead of life. Meaning it costs me $3,500 a month to live, and in this business I can make 10. So every month that I'm willing to do this, I get 2.5 extra. I get a free month of life. And I think that's the ultimate goal, that when we think about money sometimes, and when we think about like how much income do you need, like how much does it cost to live, but how much does the life you want to live cost?
Mm.
And so if you could build and design everything around that, like this business right here, man, as long as I'm willing to give my 3 agreements,
Yeah.
I'm ahead of life. And it
There you
also allows me to place bigger bets because everything we do, and I think what happens with a lot of people is like that first one, you got to bet on yourself. You got to bet on you that you are going to follow through. And if you do, you get what you want.
Yeah.
And that first bet is scary. I ran into this even with people when it came to like with credit repair and stuff, like just looking at a credit report is scary for a lot of people. It's like a legit fear that if you feel the pain enough, because I filed bankruptcy once and I was close to doing it again. And I said, yo, this ain't gonna work because it's way too expensive. 7 years that stuff sit on your credit report. And now everything in life costs you more. You can't get ahead. Now I'm like, yo, I got a business that works. This sucker's easy, smooth. I can get 2 months ahead just from doing this. And really, if you really want to run,
Yeah.
20 grand, you could do 30 grand. If you got the motor, the business is all there. So you can go get it. It's all there. But for me, I'm like, man, I want a certain quality of life as well. I got my girl, I got her boys and everything. And I'm like, yo, I want them to see what it looks like, what the process looks like. I want to be able to show them what the process looks like in the real world, because this is a real world business that we in, not just like corporate paycheck.
I like what you say there, and I like what Matt was alluding to. Is like we do this for a different reason. So we recently started homeschooling my son, like my oldest son. Now he was in a very private, high end like daycare for a good while, like the one that costs you $3,000 a month to put him in, you know. So, but we also it's really cool that we have the freedom to not need to send them to school. Like we can take an active approach in his education. Like he comes with me to meetups, you know, like that's freaking cool. You know, he hands the people the money, you know, like he counts it out, you know, the stuff. He's, you know, 6 years old. And so, you know, that's something we wanted to do. And that's something this business allowed for me to do is we basically get to create, we get to teach. And, you know, I love, like, you call me the system scientist. I love learning new systems about this business. Like just diving deeper, as Matt talked about, just diving deeper. Every meetup, I learned something from that person on how did you find me? What made you reach out to me? And it allows me to just dive even deeper into the goal of like how this whole thing works. And I know a lot of people don't feel that part of it. They feel like that is too much for them. I love it. Like that's my stuff. I don't know why. Whenever I figure out some new system on how to get somebody to come back and sell me another thing, or how to leverage another customer to get another customer to come to me, dude, I love
some ideas out at you then, because there's some stuff that I've been sitting on that I just ain't said.
Hey.
I probably have some, you know, I might have come across it already.
Have you ever using one deal to get 5? So something that I was thinking about was we go through like, yo, we get the photo. I got that directly from you. We get the customer photo. That's what I actually love and appreciate about this business, because I created an ebook and everything. I sold it back in like 2014. I had people, and the group still exists in Facebook. Yes. And so, but I was brand new to marketing, so I didn't know a lot. And all I knew was my own experience in this business. And so now that more people have come in, the things that you can learn and stuff like that, I probably would have been out if Aaron didn't learn how to get ads to stick. Because I had ran into it and I was like, man, next thing you know, Aaron like, oh, we getting ads to stick. And I had went from getting 8 leads a day to now like, oh, I was doing 25 grand on eBay with 8 leads a day. And then I get to Aaron, that's when I went, boom, I went to 60 real quick. And so, two things. Number one, I appreciate everybody that has learned new stuff, innovated, taking the chances, the risks and everything. That's why if I see somebody getting a result that I'm like, I want that result, I go buy it. Cool.
Yeah.
Um, and I love that. So that I got from you specifically was the photos, but something that I'm like, man, I should test this sucker out is pay them to post the photo on their page.
Yeah, I'm working on that currently. So I'm gonna shout out to Navon here real quick. Navon was a student that we brought in 3 months ago who did 10K his first month. And something I love about having the Recelerator program, like at the tips of our fingertips, is like I can test new things through students to see if it works, right?
Sure.
So I'll hit up people like Isaac, I'll hit up people like Jared, I'll hit up people like you, and be like, hey, I tried this thing. Can you try it too? I need to make sure this works for other people before I make a whole training on it. And one thing Navon did was he
should we be saying it?
It's fine. Like he's already said it on the live, but basically he would pay people to send a message to their like family group chat. It's that simple. Like, so I took it a step further. I was like, hey, here's this little message. I'm going to text it to you, and can you send this to your family group chat, and I'll give you an extra $5 right now to do that. Mm-hmm. And anything that they bring to me, and he actually did this. He was like, I'll pay you $10 for every device that they sell me. And he's like, I'll just cash app you. So that's what he did. And that's how one of the ways he did over 10 grand in profit his very first month. So, obviously I'm working on how do I add that to Resell Deck, right? Like how do I make that automatic as soon as they fill out the bill of sale or you add them to the follow-up sequence? Like we're working on making that like an automation to where it just works, And so, we love that stuff. I love that stuff. Like that's my jam. And like once it's figured out, it usually skyrockets people's business. Like we've seen this before with like the scheduled meetup model. Like for example, somebody like Kayla, who was somebody who was running around town all day long, picking up devices in Toronto, to meeting 3 to 4 to 5 people all at the same place at the same time. Completely changed the business and skyrocketed her business, So like, I love stuff like that and doing that. So yeah, absolutely. So if you got more ideas, throw them out. I might've already tested them out. I test things out all the time, dude. Like the newest thing right now is doing the reels, because those get the most traction right now in terms of views and eyeballs. So that's what we're going to be working on. And, we're doing the same thing with, Matt specifically is going to be doing Google ads for game consoles here very soon. We're going to be siphoning off leads from GameStop. I've already done it. We're going to test it with Matt and go from there. But yeah, dude, it's good stuff. But I think we're about to wrap up. I do got to get some deals ready to pick up. So at 2:30. So
I'm joint buzzing. I'm gonna go ahead and look into this Galaxy S24 Ultra. Make sure this sucker's real.
Sorry to do that to you, but just want to make sure.
That's the part of the game, man. That's a part of the game. I appreciate this, by the way. And I hope that anybody that watched it, I hope they got a lot of nuggets out of it and was able to pick up some things, man. And this business is as simple as if you allow it to stay simple. And one of the things that we talked about throughout this was like, make the game more winnable for you. And you can do that when you make things simple.
I think last thing I want to touch on here is a lot of you guys listening right now, you haven't started probably, or you have started. And really I want you guys to think about it in this way. You just haven't paid down your ignorance debt enough, which means you're lacking knowledge in certain areas, whether it's negotiation, whether it's ads, whether it's game consoles, whether it's whatever. And I want to throw this out there. It only takes 20 hours to become pretty proficient at pretty much anything, right? Like go to your pawn shop, go look at the items that they have on display, look them up on eBay, figure out what they sell for. Talk about practice. Oh man, like that's easy practice. You might even find a deal, like that happens all the time, right? But like that's an easy way to practice without spending any money, is you can just, hey, what is what is this Oculus Quest selling for online? What is this Samsung Galaxy that they have here selling for online? Like, are they going to be able to sell it? You know, that type of stuff. That's an easy way to just like go find products in your area, or just go to Facebook Marketplace. Same thing, same process. Figure out what's selling for online, and then the next phase of that is like figuring out how to negotiate. You know, and then once you figure out how to negotiate and you understand where to sell things, cool. Let's market. You know, let's throw the marketing out there. Let's start doing reach outs. Let's start doing ads. Let's start doing these things, and then over time the pieces will come together. The pieces will start to meld, and they will become so ingrained in yourself that it's hard not to win. I mean, Anthony was talking earlier. I think we were messaging. He was like, "Dude, I can do conversations in my sleep at this point." Like, it gets to that point. Like when all you need is, what device is it? What's wrong with it? Offer. What device is it? What's wrong with it? Offer. Like, you just do it so many times. Like, Aaron talks about it all the time. He's like, you just got to put the reps in. Like, he's put in 36,000 reps at this point in his career with this thing. Dude, that's crazy. I can only imagine how many you've done, Anthony. Like, been in the game for 5 years longer than me and Aaron. So,
I mean, I track my stuff. I got a scoreboard card that I use and stuff. So I think I had the other day, it was like 24 leads. It's a lot. Every conversation matters. And I think one of the things too, like in the beginning, what are people really looking for? We come to, like, I bought a whole bunch of stuff on the internet, and every time I'm looking for that result. And typically the result is money. I'm looking for that outcome result. What do I need in order to get there? Is I need something to focus on every day that is simple. Because at the same time, life is going around. Like, you already have a life that you're living. You have something that you're used to doing. So make the game winnable for you by boiling it down to, like, yo, this is the steps that you do every day. Something that didn't exist when even back when Dave came out with his course, what y'all got now did not exist. Resale Hawk did not exist. What most people are looking for is something that show me a process that's simple, I can do it, and it works. It will get me this result. And it's also, I don't have to risk a lot. How low can we get the risk when you first getting started? Because that's the scariest thing, is like, how far out here am I when you first getting started? And so really, like, yo, if somebody's brand new, I ain't never did this before, get Resale Hawk, get them alerts, and use them suckers every day, and pick one that you say, this is me. Nintendo Switch is me, or Oculus is me, and learn it. Because now once you learn that one, it becomes locked in to you. And once you got it locked in, you don't think about it the same way you get in your car and you drive. You don't think about everything that you're doing. You could eat a cheeseburger and drive with your knee. You can do that now. You couldn't. I remember watching my brother, and he used to drive a stick shift and eat and talk on the phone. And I'm like, this dude is a magician.
Wow, dude.
Nobody's doing that day one. But you really, like, even if somebody ever taught you how to juggle, like if you ever watch somebody, but then they teach you how to do it, you start with one. You start with one, you get that sucker going to the point where now you can have that thing flipping, then you add another, and then you add another. And so really in the beginning, focus on those steps. Focus on those steps. At this point, I feel like it's so much information in our business that if we boil it down and, like, yo, the new person, make it simple, make them simple steps every day, you can get out here, especially because it's money on out. It's you earn while you learn. Like, somebody say yes. You think you go
Maybe it is that college degree money.
Yeah, bro, I don't like school at all. And I got a lot of deep thoughts, like deep is stuff, because it was really like my parents and stuff was like, you gotta go. That's really where it was. And I was like, I don't want to. I want to be an entrepreneur. Opened up my first shop, 17 years old, full-time junior in college, full-time shop owner.
Yeah. Dude, I mean, like, yeah. I mean, we could go on and on about the school system and how that's set up to fail. But yeah, dude, I mean, and Matt, you've lived it, so
I've been there a lot.
Weapons of Mass Instruction. You heard of that book?
Weapons of Mass Instruction? Yeah.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah. Dumbing us down.
Mm-hmm.
But well, we're gonna wrap this thing up. I got deals to make. I got money to make, and I know you guys do too. So I appreciate you coming on, Anthony. We'll have to do this again. You got so many mental frameworks around this business that I absolutely love it. If you guys want more resources, definitely check out the other YouTube videos that I have on my channel. I got 1,600 videos all on flipping electronics now. It's crazy. It's an entire library for you guys. And then, you know, if you want to take it a little bit further than that, grab the ebook. And then, you know, if you want to take it even further than that, and you want to have mega results, mega fast, we got our Recelerator program. This makes, you know, your reselling journey accelerated. So with that being said, guys, thanks for coming on. Appreciate you guys. Later.